Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And I'm joined today by Bob. Bob, can you please share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thanks, Gleb. Happy to be here. I'm the founder and CEO of Humanscale. We make products that create a healthier, more comfortable place to work. So whether that's at home or in the office, products that really have a positive impact on people. So chairs, height adjustable desking, arms that support computers, lighting, that sort of thing.
Excellent. And I have to acknowledge a potential conflict that I have one of your chairs and I quite enjoy it. So just saying that, yes, good, definitely good company product. So thank you for that.
Oh, that's good to hear. We're obsessed with we're truly obsessed with making things great. So it's good to hear you liked it.
So tell me a little bit more about what you've seen, the kind of changes you've seen in the products that people are requesting in just the workplace design as we've moved into remote work and hybrid work as these dynamics hit. What have you seen in terms of changes?
Well, obviously, this is the biggest change we've ever seen in our industry, of course, in a very short period of time. Everything changed. The main thing that happened over the pandemic, of course, is we went to hybrid. People are working maybe 2-3 days a week rather than 5 days. Some places are 5, and sometimes you have to be in 5, but many offices around the United States, North America, are mandating 3 days. And so what we're seeing product wise is we're seeing offices are changing. It used to be that we would have, and this has changed. This was changing anyway. We'd have a sea of desks. Just let's see how many desks we can pack into a footprint, which is not a pleasant way of working anyway.
Sure.
And so in that regard, offices are getting better, I think, for folks to just spend time in. What we call collaborative space is increasing. Places where people can just sit and have a casual meeting or have a coffee or lunch and just enjoy the space. Those spaces are increasing dramatically. The place where you packed in workstations is shrinking. The actual workstation area is smaller because people are there 3 days a week, not 5 days. And the number of meeting rooms is increasing significantly. Because when people come in, the focus is, of course, collaborating, spending time with other folks, rather than being, sitting at a workstation all day. Although I would also say that when people are at home, they often don't have a very good work environment. People working, we've seen nightmares of how people are working at home, as you can imagine. Which, if you're interested, we can talk about that. So there's an emphasis of creating a really great work environment at the workstation level in the office. Larger monitors, a lot of adjustability and that sort of thing.
Now, I've helped over 24 companies by now figure out their hybrid work arrangements as a consultant. And I have to say that there are two things I'm curious about that you haven't mentioned. One is companies are increasingly providing home office furnishings for their employees at home because their employees are spending 2 to 3 days working in the office, and that means that they're spending 2 to 3 days working from home. And so that companies are providing those furnishings for employees, or they're recompensating their employees. So I'm curious what you've seen there. That's one. And the second thing that you haven't mentioned is hoteling. Many companies of the ones I'm working with, they are moving to hoteling, which means that people can't just set up their individualized office space in the way that they prefer, but they're sharing office space. So the offices, the furniture needs to be able to fit a number of people's preferences. So how is both the provision of home office space impacting what you're seeing in terms of workplace design, all these furnishings, and how's hoteling impacting the workplace design?
Yeah, those are two really relevant questions. The first one is a lot of companies are talking about giving people funds to buy equipment for their home to work not only comfortably but safely in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of companies have not provided actual money to folks. What most large companies have done is at least made products available at a significant discount. So almost not all, but the vast majority of large companies we do business with have set up a portal where their employees can go in and buy our products, like the chair you have, at close to the corporate discount rate, rather than the retail rate, which is significantly different, by the way.
Yeah.
And so allowing people to have access to good products that are thoughtfully chosen, which is a good start. A lot of companies, again, I don't have the exact percentages, but a smaller number of companies have actually provided stipends so people can buy some things. We'd like to see more stipends, because without the stipends, we're not sure people are going to be buying the right product. So that we think that's really important. We've seen many instances where people are working in really in ways that ultimately will lead to chronic issues. Working at kitchen tables with chairs that hold you upright and hunched over, working at working at coffee tables and things like that. So there's a lot more work that needs to be done there, and a lot of people at home also don't have the professional expertise to set up a workstation, and that's another area that's concerning. We're trying to address that. On the other hand, the next question you asked is very relevant, which is hoteling. We're seeing there is a trend toward hoteling already, because if you have 1,000 employees at a location, at any given day, you're not going to have 1,000 people in that location. They're going to be out at meetings or whatever. And so hoteling is something that was a trend that was happening. Hybrid working really accelerated that trend, where we're seeing the majority of our customers now, large customers, are setting up a hoteling situation where you don't get the same desk every day. And it makes sense. It's better for the environment. You're not making things that aren't going to be used. You're using less space. It's good for the environment. It's good for the company. It's the right thing to do. However, historically, the furniture industry has made products, for individuals who stay at their workstation for years and years. Interestingly, chairs, we're obsessed with chairs, so I'll talk about chairs a little bit.
Yeah.
Chairs are really hard to adjust, famously hard to adjust.
Yes.
The number of studies, Cornell and Virginia Tech did studies, found that very small percentage of people who sit in chairs in the office or at home, if a task chair, know how to do something as basic as lean back in the chair, which keeps them in very fixed postures, actually encourages them to lean forward, which is really unhealthy. And so the thing that sets us apart and that we're famous for is chairs that adjust to you automatically. So pretty much every chair that you would see on the internet or on the market has a spring underneath it, has a mechanism to adjust that spring to increase force on the backrest to create a counterbalance, has a way to lock the backrest in place, and so on, that no one knows how to operate. And every time you want to say change your posture, you have to operate a control under your chair that most people don't even know what the control is. The thing about our chairs, we partnered with Niels Different, who's often referred to as the father of modern ergonomics. And he had invented a concept where instead of this whole spring mechanism, he replaced that simply with the sitter's weight. So when you sit in the chair that you have, for example, and lean back, the seat actually transfers a percentage of your body weight to the backrest as a counterbalance. So you're perfectly in balance with the back of the chair. If a heavier person sat in it, or a lighter person, the recline force would be adjusted for them. So that means that 1,000 people come to work, 1,000 people can sit in chairs perfectly adjusted for their weight, or at home, a teenager can sit in the chair, or a mother or a father, and they all weigh something different, and it'll work for them without operating controls, and they can just lean back and change position spontaneously without worrying about operating something. And that encourages people to move, and movement is hugely important when it comes to back health and overall health in a sitting posture.
Well, it sounds like a really good fit in terms of hoteling, where people have different chairs all the time. And
That's
so
right.
that's a good
Yeah, so
dynamic.
hoteling, theoretically, if you had a traditional chair, every morning you'd have to come in, you'd have to adjust the lumbar support, and you'd have to adjust the tension. And no one would ever do that. But and the fact is, so it's theoretically more appropriate for hoteling. The interesting thing is the data shows us that even if you sit in the same chair for 10 years, you'll never adjust the tension, and you'll typically leave it locked. So theoretically, it certainly makes a lot more sense in a hoteling situation, but it's true in any situation.
Let me go back to the home office example. And I hear that I think the companies that I work with are much more likely, because I make a business case for supplying their employees, to actually supply their employees at home with furnishing. So I'll give you an example of a company or organization. It's the Information Sciences Institute at the University of Southern California. Has something like 300-ish employees. It's in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, various information sciences. So what they did was that they selected a set amount of certain furniture and said, here's the furniture that we're going to supply to you if you're working from home. We are going to supply this furniture to you. We're also going to have our people come over to help you set up the furniture to the extent that you need it for furniture setup, and they pay for the furniture, they pay for the setup. And when people leave the organization, they tell them to avoid them being hit with a tax bill. They tell them to donate the furniture to a place of their choice, and whether they donate or not is not then up to the organization, of course, but that helps prevent their employees from being hit with a tax bill as part of the severance, as part of the separation. So I'm curious in terms of best practices, and that's what I've hoped to encourage other companies to do as well. I'm just know that the Information Science Institute is comfortable with me talking about it. I'm curious whether you think that's a best practice, or whether you think companies should be doing something else in the Information Sciences Institute, or other companies should be doing something else in addition, or something different than the Information Sciences Institute is doing.
No, well, what they're doing sounds like a great solution. You didn't mention if there's ergonomic expertise involved. I mean, that's essential, and hopefully there is. And
yes,
so
there is.
Okay, so as long as an ergonomist is there, or someone who has expertise to set up a workstation properly, that sounds terrific. I mean, I think what we see is that people don't know what's healthy, and it's very easy for them to set up a workstation in a way that's not long-term healthy. So that's what's often missing. And lots of times companies give you a stipend and say, oh, here's $1,200, spend it to set up a healthy home office. But the employee is not an ergonomic expert, so they go and buy a really nice chair that's ergonomic. Hopefully, maybe the advertisement probably says it is, right?
Sure.
And then they work at their workstation. Well, the workstation might be a table that's too low for them, or a table that's too high for them, but they have a really nice chair. At that point, they're not benefiting from having a good chair, because the workstation is the wrong height. Conversely, they may want a height adjustable desk that they stand maybe a small percentage of the time, and then they're sitting in a really uncomfortable chair with no padding that could potentially cause long-term issues. And so the expertise to advise them how to do it is a critical component. We have an ergonomic consulting wing here at Humanscale, and one of the things we've done is set up a software called Ergo IQ that's used for corporate, but it's also, we have Ergo IQ Home, It allows someone to set up a workstation at home by going through a questionnaire, and then the software will actually help you make choices about what you need. So that's a really important part of the whole equation.
Excellent. Yeah, I think the people who they have sending to people's homes, they have some training in ergonomics. So, but it sounds,
that's great.
The Ergo IQ sounds like a really good tool for people who don't have that provision.
And a lot of times, a company is not going to be able to afford to send someone to their home, and I think that's terrific. They're sending someone to their home, but that ends up getting probably pretty costly.
Yes, well, they're willing to invest.
Yeah.
But yes, yep, companies should. I mean, considering that employees are spending half their time working for the company from home, making sure that the employee is productive and comfortable and has good health and well-being is very, very important.
Right.
As we finish up, what do you see as the future for workplace design for hybrid workers?
I think we've addressed a lot of that. I think you have to create an environment where when you sit at a workstation or you sit in a meeting room, you don't have to try to adjust your chair or your tools. They adjust to you automatically. We think it's important that the chair knows you and adjusts to the shape of your back, your weight, and so you can sit in a healthy way, lean back and change posture and move without thinking about it, without calling facilities and ask, hey, how do I lean back in my chair? And so that's critically important. And what we're seeing, we've pioneered that concept for the last 25 years. Our first chair was the Freedom Chair that we introduced that does that, and then we have a series of other chairs that do the same thing and offer a little different functionality. In meeting rooms too. When 20 people sit in a meeting room, every chair should work for all of them, not for two of them or happen to be the right weight. And those two people can lean back and move, but other people are stuck sitting forward. So it's really important that products know you and adjust to you. And we're continuing to see changes. I mean, initially, companies were like, oh, we have to make the office like your living room. We have to make collaborative space just like your living room. We'll put in couches. But when you think about it, if you have a living room at home already, why do you want to come in to have another living room? And so people are realizing it's not about duplicating a home office or home environment. It's about creating an environment that's worth coming in for, which is, better ways to collaborate with people and meet with people, more advanced technology and that sort of thing.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate you sharing your expertise. That was very helpful.
No, happy to talk. I really enjoy talking about this stuff as you do. So thank you for that.
Yes, as I do.
All right.
And thank you to the audience for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps other people discover the show, and it helps us improve the show.